Welcome, everybody. My name is Marilee Burnett, and I am back again with the messages for the week of September 9th, which is after my daughter's wedding, but I'm recording this before the wedding because I will be gone when I normally post this. So hopefully all has gone well. We have some really good messages this week, work that I think we need to do to prep for the upcoming eclipse season. So if you're new to my channel, thank you and welcome. Please remember to click on that subscribe button below, and then feel free to share my work with somebody that you think would benefit from it as well. Also, go out to my website, marileeburnett.com. That's where you'll see all of my information in one place, especially the written articles for the month of September, as well as the written article for the upcoming full moon lunar eclipse, which happens on the 17th. So I really feel like this is the last week we have before we are into serious eclipse work. So take advantage of it. And of course, we'll break it down day by day and help you prepare. And then go watch my tarot cards because there's some really good messages out there for everybody involving the work that you need to do. So check that out. There'll be a link to that at the end of this recording as well. Now, last week I said I would be doing a fabulous makeover, and so here's my beautiful hair that I had colored so that I'm not just a black blob anymore. So that was what I did with my Virgo new moon wishes with the first house activity. Let me know what you did with your new moon intentions. Okay, let us get started. As usual, I'm using the Astro Gold software. I'm going to break it down day by day and help you get prepared to show up and join with the energy of the week ahead. Now, I'm focusing on just the major events that are coming up. So there may be things that are going on that I don't cover, but you might see those in my monthly article. So again, go out to my website and check that out as well. But in front of you, on the Astro Gold software for Monday, as we kick off, we're looking for the bold lines. I don't spend a lot of time talking about the moon's energy. It moves every 2.5 days. It's emotionally changing and charging us. So that's where we're starting on Monday, Moon Day. The moon rules Monday. And the moon here will be talking in harmony with Neptune. That was going to be playing a very important role in the upcoming lunar eclipse. So while I don't normally spend a lot of time talking about the moon, you might want to pay extra close attention to your intuition on Monday, because there may be, again, a message that's coming through about the work that you need to be prepared to do and the letting go that you need to do emotionally with that upcoming eclipse. Now, we also have on Monday Mercury, who's slowly moving forward through all of the territory that it covered in the retrograde. It is now going into, or ingress, to its home sign of Virgo. And Mercury, of course, is very strong here. It's exalted even. It loves all the details, all the work, all the movement in the sign of Virgo. So for the next several weeks, we will get to work and we're going to get busy. And hopefully the chaoticness of this lovely Mercury retrograde will come to an end. In fact, it will for sure as soon as Mercury is making more space away from Uranus. And after 4 degrees of Virgo, it will be clear. And that we call that post-shadow phase. So that will be good news for everybody, especially me, because Mercury is my ruler as a Virgo rising. So that's the biggest events that we have on Monday. So we're going to move on, and you're going to notice it's a pretty light week. Not a lot of things happening at the beginning, but we do have some really beautiful blessings coming up as well. So we're going to skip right past Tuesday. We're going to move into Wednesday. And on Wednesday, you're going to start to notice Venus is in her home sign of Libra. And as the planet hits this 15-degree mark, it's starting to have a bit of an odd conversation over here to Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn's the restriction, boundaries. Venus is the things that we love and what we value. It's relationships that are really important. And so there's something about a relationship that may have been restricting you, or some relationship where you haven't had good boundaries in place. And you're going to find out why not having good boundaries is so important. So there is something that you need to learn about things being fair and balanced and just in your relationships. And you're going to find out in a really weird and strange way. Then we will have, back to speaking about Mercury, and almost just flying by in a couple of days. It's almost out of its shadow period. It is speaking, though, in harmony with Mars. So Mars is now in the sign of Cancer. And in Cancer, emotionally, we can really be much more charged when Mars is in the sign. We can be aggressive when it comes to doing things at home. We can have a lot more aggressiveness within our family. So this is good energy to tune into and pay attention to. About every 2 years, Mars comes back. So in 2022, we would have seen Mars come through here as well. So you can reflect back on how you feel whenever you have Mars in this watery sign. But something about conversations, details, information is going to come up in a way to help you. It's a sextile. So there's something, it could be involving your health. It could be work that you want to take action on, because Mars is taking action. It's being aggressive. It's feeling motivated. So there's something that you're feeling motivated about, and it could be your health, because Virgo also rules good health. Depends on the house that you have this in. So take a close look at Wednesday the 11th. It's 9/11. So of course this is a day where we remember all of the heartache that 9/11 caused us here in the US as well. So there'll probably be some big speeches. They'll feel very impassioned as a result of this combination of Mercury and Mars speaking together. And we have this for a couple of days, but we'll probably hear something specifically that, could get us fired up on this day. All right. Then we are going to take a look at Thursday. Now, on Thursday, we have such an interesting mix of energy. So I know I keep saying I don't talk about the moon a lot, but when the moon's doing things that call my attention to it, then I will talk about the moon. So on Thursday, we see the moon in Capricorn, and we call the moon at fall in Capricorn because it's the opposite place where it likes to be in its home sign of Cancer. And so while it's at fall, emotionally, it can be harder to express yourself, and it's going to be opposing Mars. Now, Mars would prefer to be in Capricorn. That is much better energy for it. So there's something about our emotional state that feels under pressure here on Thursday because of this discussion going on between the moon and Mars. And then both are creating a square to the nodes. So this is something fated that's going on, right? North Node is where we're supposed to be heading, strong, independent. North Node in Aries, of course, is Mars's home sign. And when there's squares, there's something that we need to change. And so the hands of fate, again, are stepping in and helping us do the work and make the changes so that we're ready for eclipse season. And eclipse season eclipses something out, especially when you have personal planets that will be at the same degrees as the eclipse. And that lunar one's going to happen at 25 degrees. So anything you have close to 25 degrees is going to get a direct hit and eclipse, right? In that moment, you will come to emotionally understand something. And because of that understanding, you know what you have to let go or change or end or conclude, right? It's a full moon that gets eclipsed, but it's only a partial eclipse, so it's less intense in some cases. But this day is going to feel under pressure and intense because of this is a grand cardinal cross. All the cardinal signs, which is Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries, all are about instigating something. You can't all sit at the four-way stop and all go forward at the same time. That causes pressure and chaos. But out of this pressure is something that will benefit you. And that something is here with Jupiter in Gemini that is going to be squaring to the sun in Virgo. So this can be some kind of a conflict, a difference of opinion. You know, the sun is the ego self and Jupiter is, you know, a benefic planet, a teacher. So it's a gentle correction, this square, but it depends on how your ego likes being corrected. In Virgo, the sun and the ego self very much wants to be in control. And with this square to Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, it is teaching you that there's another way and that there's a different perspective and that you should probably pause and take a look at that. And then when we do the work, right, that's where the hidden blessing comes up. And there will be a blessing, and we're going to see that coming up here in a couple of days as well. So this is a day where you need to tune in and particularly do the work because you're going to be really glad and happy that you did. All right, let's move on to Friday and start to see what that work is. Now, this is another day where things get a little weird because we have Mercury trying to just make a show of itself. Now it's post shadow, right? It's gone past 4 degrees, and this is all new territory for us. So now we're moving on from the Mercury retrograde, and it's time to see what's new and what's possible. Now, the first thing Mercury does is make this weird, see the green line, connection to the North Node in Aries. So there's something we need to see. Maybe we need to see that we're big, fat control freaks and way too OCD. And it is keeping us from the path that we're supposed to be on, this path of independence and freedom, fighting for ourselves and what we want. So there's something about our North Node journey and lessons that, again, might come up in a weird way. We might have a weird conversation. We might overhear some weird conversation. People might be talking weird in public. Whatever this energy is, even though it's odd, what you learn helps you make better choices for yourself. So we have that. Then we also have the moon still in Capricorn, also making a weird inconjunct angle to Jupiter. So you could easily get some kind of a download. This is very intuitive, right? When you're working with the moon, it's your intuition, your feelings, your emotions. Jupiter is a big giant planet that is working on your mind, your lower mind specifically. And so there's something about what you're thinking and what you're being intuited to listen to that is going to come up again. Something weird and strange is happening on, of course, Friday the 13th. So can't make this stuff up. We will see. Now, personally, I always find this to be a very lucky day for me. So good. Let's hope so. But it might be weird, strange luck that you're like, wow, I don't know why I turned down this road, why I decided to talk to that person, why I decided to enroll in this class. It's something that you will do outside of your normal day-to-day activities might bring you this really unexpected blessing. So that is going to be interesting. And at the time that the moon is speaking oddly with Jupiter, it is speaking in harmony with the sun. So you do feel supported in whatever this weird activity is, something about it still feels comforting to you. So this will be an interesting day to pay attention to on Friday the 13th. All right, let us move ahead to Saturday. And this is when, out of all of that weirdness that's been going on, the blessings start showing up. And that's because both of the benefic planets, Venus in her home sign of Libra and Jupiter in Gemini, speak in harmony. So whenever the two benefic planets speak together, they multiply the goodness. And so that's what we're seeing on Saturday. So as a result of fate stepping in and making changes, giving us information, having strange things happen, we're seeing the hidden blessing that's showing up, and it's showing up on Saturday. So wherever you have this Jupiter energy and the Venus energy, there's some kind of a blessing possible. So in this person's chart, you would see the Jupiter blessing in the 9th house, which is about growth and expansion and could be about higher education. And then the blessing from Venus in that case happens in the 1st house related to yourself. So this could be somebody who's a Libra rising that has the potential to achieve a goal, some kind of a degree potentially, or maybe just getting into a program that you've been waiting to get into. And it happened because of all this weird, crazy stuff that happened and went on this week and faded and moved somebody else out of the program that had your spot, and suddenly you're in it. It's like that. It's weird magic that can happen this week for you. So you definitely got to keep me posted on what types of things show up for you. All right. And then on Sunday, we have this blessing that now is exact because we have Venus at 20 degrees, same as Jupiter, and they will briefly also be joined by the moon in Aquarius. And so this creates what we call a grand air trine. So you have this tremendous opportunity that's going to present itself to you, and you have to be the one that takes advantage of it. Otherwise, it could just pass you by. So don't let it pass you by because it's really beautiful. I mean, the moon in Aquarius is that energy of kumbaya, right? Bringing people together. This could have something to do with women in particular that are coming together for a cause. There's just all kinds of beautiful possibilities. Now, for some, it could be a blessing involving your home, involving motherhood. Maybe you've been trying really hard to have children and haven't been able to. Suddenly you find out you're pregnant, and maybe you had to do it in an alternative way, which is Aquarius's way. So beautiful possibilities. But this is also the time when that Mars energy that's been squaring with the nodes also becomes exact. So there is, again, something fated changing, a change in direction that is coming up for you. Now, let's imagine again, this is your chart, your Libra rising, and Mars in the sign of Cancer in the 9th house might suggest that if you live overseas, you're going to move. And if you wanted to go overseas, you're also going to move, right? So it just depends on your personal chart and what's going on for you. But change is coming within topics related to Cancerian things: home, family, women, caring, nurturing. So many possibilities. But a change is required, and it's a fated change of some kind. All right. That's exciting. So again, keep me posted on what is going on for you. And then as we get into next week, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the full moon lunar eclipse. So of course, I will be here to break it all down for you. And as I mentioned, you're going to see, and I'm just going to move this forward so that you can see it easier. Is that 25? Okay. So the sun will be in Virgo, and it's going to be opposing, of course, the moon in Pisces, and it will be conjunct to Neptune, ruler of Pisces. So it's a very emotional full moon. And whenever things have to be eclipsed, right, there's emotional closure, emotional letting go, and it's more intense because of the fact that it's also conjunct the planetary ruler of Pisces. So that will be important to pay attention to. Of course, I'll be here to break it all down in next week's Astro lesson. But if you want a hint, go out and check out the article. We'll have to link to that below as well. And you can start to get prepared. Make sure, though, that you know your chart so you know exactly the houses and the other planets that will be being impacted by this energy. And of course, you can book a session with me. I have special pricing out there. All we do is focus in on the eclipses. So I have a great discounted reading special that you can check out on my website, MarileeBurnett.com. All right, that is all the goodies. More to come next week, of course. So I hope to see you then. Make sure you check out again the tarot cards. Go out to my website. And I do have hypnosis sessions where you connect to the energy of a full moon or a new moon to help you really get into that manifesting space. Now, I never recommend trying to actually manifest things with eclipses, except to manifest things that you need to let go of, blocks that you need to release, right? So when you're going to work with eclipses, you have to be working with reality of what you have to let go and that you can't stay stuck any longer. But it's not just like new things aren't just coming your way. It's much more intense. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I can't wait to hear how this week goes for you. And I definitely can't wait to see how the eclipse season shakes out for all of us. It's sure to be interesting. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye now. Be sure and check out your weekly tarot card messages as well. Those, along with this astro lesson, are going to give you the big picture. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.